Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. How is everybody doing this week? So I'm kind of wondering if we had another shift or something. I was like really tired this week, and there's like a whole bunch of people on Retcon saying that the Hillary Clinton Mandela just happened for them. Now that happened for me, that famous flip flop happened for me way back. Was it like 2016? The right before the election, there was at least for me. Okay, I'm acting like you all know, but maybe you are not from that timeline where that happened. But basically, for me, her name had two L's, and then for a while it had one L, and that actually happened before I knew of the Mandela, and I was like, what? I've been spelling it wrong this whole time. I even checked, because it was so wacky to me, I even checked both the wiki and her election page to make sure, and both of those said one else. I'm like, okay, I was just stupid this whole time. And then right before the election, it flipped back. And somebody actually mentioned it on a subreddit called Mandela Affected, and I looked, and sure enough, it had flipped back. So that was the famous flip-flop, and for me, it was one of the early flip-flops when people were just starting to realize that there was a thing called flip-flops. And but now, apparently, I am in the minority, and that a lot of people, somebody started a thread on Retcon, the majority of the people think it, like something just changed for them now. It's two L's still. So for me, it's been two L's since like just before the election that she was in, which is quite some time ago. But a bunch of people said, oh, it was always one L, now it's two. Some people said it was two L's, then it was one L, now it just flipped to two L's. There are very few, like there was like 20 people who said some other version that just changed and not the version that I remember. There was only a few people on there that remember my version. Now, granted, maybe some of us old timers, a lot of us just kind of, aren't watching it as carefully as we used to, because after, what is it? My gosh, it's been like, 5, 6, 7, like 8 years. Is it really? No, 7 years. It's been like 7 years for me. So time does fly. So yeah, I don't know. And people are saying it just switched like the last few days. So something then is very interesting with that. So and we had seen a lot of shifts before this. So I kind of feel like maybe we had two, like one a month ago and one like right around now, maybe. I'm not sure. Or is it like a tail end of the last one? But let's see. So now you guys got some stuff. Apparently Russia sold us Alaska again. Now I don't remember Russia ever selling us Alaska. But now for you, it's back to Russia. I don't know. It's getting so confusing because like things keep shifting. And I have to remember the original plus all the different versions. And then it's like not only one history you got to remember multiple histories. Let's see, blah, blah, blah. Okay, somebody, people drinking their coffee. Okay, so Mandanimal remembers in my past, Russia sold us U.S. Alaska. It was called Seaward's Folly. Seaward's Folly, huh? Russia sold us Alaska. I don't remember. For me, Russia was so far away. They really had nothing to do hardly at all with North America's current, like as far as our history, they were very minimally involved. But now Russia's like right there next to Alaska, so it makes a lot of sense that they were involved. But it used to be there was a whole bunch of ocean between Alaska and Russia, so they weren't involved. Then I started to hear some stories about Russian trappers in California. And I thought it was a little weird, but hey, a couple trappers, maybe I didn't know about it. But it makes sense when you look at it because they're so close now. So, of course, they were involved. Project Bluebeam, the Black Knight satellite. Yeah, I went over the many versions of the Black Knight satellite like a couple weeks ago. For me, there was no such thing. Then it was a big rock that looked a little bit strange, but was very much still rock-shaped. Now it supposedly, it clearly is not a rock now, and is supposedly debris. The story, NASA's story, is it's debris like from one of the launches. At least that's how it was a couple weeks ago. I haven't actually checked it today, so you never know. It was HILAR since 2016 and changed yesterday. Oh yeah, Shari, you were on there. You were on that thread. Yeah, and your version is the more popular version right now. And it flips me out because there was another Shari who did, like, at one time several years ago, remember a lot of my same timeline. So we've obviously shifted apart. I remember, about a year ago, you were kind of like surprised that we did not agree on stuff, because there was a time when we did. I don't know if you're that same Shari from a year ago that remembers that. It gets so crazy. It's like, it's hard because you know people, and luckily there's a fair number of people who keep like the general same personality. At least you might have slightly different detail memory, but you still have the same personality. And I'm fairly lucky that I still have a number of those people in my life, but it is still very strange when they have quite a significantly different history now than they did before. Russia sold Alaska to the U.S. Yeah, no, we had a huge energy coming to Earth yesterday. So yesterday I actually felt really good, but for like quite a number of days before that, I was really tired, just like really tired. I didn't really feel too bad, just tired. And then yesterday I felt very spry, and I feel pretty good today too. So yesterday was sort of like, whew, finally. All right, so I guess we're going to have to go look and see Russia. History of Alaska. How's that? Actually, I could probably just do Alaska Wiki. So it should have all the official current narrative history on it. The official government version. A lot of people go, well, why do you go to Wiki? Well, it's not that I think Wiki never lies. It's just the official government version is going to be on here. And then for stuff like history, there's usually this is the quickest way to figure out what the current state of the narrative is. Blah. It borders British Columbia and Yukon. Okay, let's see. Largest U.S. state was not true for me originally. Next three largest, Texas and California. Now that should be by landmass size. And it is larger than the three next. It's larger than Texas, Cali, and Montana combined. The largest subnational division in the world. I've not heard that particular statement. Alaska's getting big. Third least populous and most sparsely populated U.S. state. Blah, blah. Okay. History. Okay, we're going to colonization. Some researchers believe the first Russian settlement in Alaska was in the 17th century. The first European vessel to reach Alaska, 1732. Spain sent some expeditions to Alaska. I think that in my original timeline, we bought it from Spain. I am not 100%. I know it wasn't Russia. We had a lot of dealings with Spain, though, I remember. They had a lot of territory up here, not Russia. Okay, William Seward negotiated the Alaska Purchase, also known as Seward Folly, with the Russians in 1867 for $7.2 million. You know what? Actually, I have a very strong feeling it was France that we bought it from France originally. I know the only stuff that we were buying and dealing with were the main players in the game. North America was France and Spain. Those were the two. Pretty sure it was France that we purchased it from. Russia was just not a player in my original timeline. They were too far away. I mean, okay, granted, France and Spain aren't exactly on the doorstep, but they had a big seafaring fleet that went all over the world, and they were the ones, along with the Great Britain, that started populating and taking over territory here. So there was us three, the Brit colonists, the French colonists, and the Spanish colonists, and we kind of duked it out, and Spain, France kind of got Canada's own, and we got United States. So that's how it was originally for me. Alaska was loosely governed by the military, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so yeah, we bought it from Russia in the current timeline. I thought they were idiots to sell the land for that price. So that story never changed. It was always they were idiots to sell the land for that price. That was the story I learned also. It's just that the they that were idiots keeps changing, I can see Russia from Palin's house. Yes. And so originally for me, when she said that, it wasn't true. That's what's interesting. Ooh, you can see that I've been definitely having computer problems. I have rebooted the computer twice, and I can't get rid of this stack-based buffer. Knock on wood, it just shows up, but nothing's really happening. But again, when it's shifty, I have computer problems. So, and it's a different one every time. Now I'll have that, and like I've had 10 different weird computer problems, and then they just go away. And I reboot and reboot. I often can't get rid of them, or only half goes away, and then I never see them again. It's like I have a different computer problem in every timeline. I was taught Russian early 1970s. Well, obviously I'm new to the timeline. All right, Russia. Although I'm not the only one. Sold us. I'm going to put this in Alaska, since that is obviously an interesting one. Okay, so the big one for me this week, though, is that I was on Reddit, and a story came up, and it's weird because it wasn't a story. So it's like, why did it get 10 million upvotes? Because it's not like a product. It is not a news story, but somehow it rose to the top, but it was just Elvis dancing, like oldies but goodies kind of a thing. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, wait a cotton picking minute here, because that is not how I remember Elvis dancing. Okay, think in your mind how you remember Elvis. Okay, there's a couple things. Now, one of the early Elvis ones is a lot of us remember this weird smirk thing he did where he would twist his mouth. I don't know, at least we did years ago. A lot of us remember. I don't know now, but that he did this weird thing with his mouth that like the average human couldn't do. I guess if you practiced at it or something, you might be able to like make your mouth go two different directions at once. And he was famous for that. And then suddenly it just was gone, and he never did it. But a lot of the impersonators would do that as one of his signature facial expressions. And it's been gone for quite some time. Now, you can see a little smug smirk, but that is pretty much all that's left. I have not seen any of the twisties. Okay, so now, and then we've talked about his face looking different. We've talked about the fact that his hair is not naturally black anymore. It's dyed. I think there was some discussion about brown eyes and blue eyes. I remember him brown eyes. I think at least at one point it was blue. I didn't actually check that. Okay, so a lot of us don't remember him dying on the toilets. There were some other changes, but now it's the dancing. Oh my gosh, the dancing. Now, I hope you remember as I, because it will freak me out if you do not remember as I. I'm going to turn off the sound here. So it'll probably look weird him dancing without sound, but I don't want to get a copyright. So there's two things I now notice. Oh, there's also been like all of his old outfits are just different now. And they're even different than the last time I looked. Now, he still has some white spangly ones, but I remember a lot more Western style, but obnoxiously bizarre white, like rhinestone studded things. A lot of those. Now, there's still some. There are different ones that I remember. Like, he has this one with a big round thing in the middle, and he has more with like a weird, it looks a little more Indian style trim across the front. Now, what I remember before was had this kind of Western cowboy look, and that has kind of faded out to a large extent. But I also am noticing that he's just dresses normal on a lot of the old stuff now. Maybe 2 out of 3, he dresses normal. And this is an example. He just dressed normal for the times. But I also feel that he dances fairly normal for the time. Like, he did used to look a little bit like he was having a seizure while he wiggled around. I don't know, like, I would look at it and go, I don't think I can move like that. It looks exhausting and tiring. I'd probably be able to, if I practiced, do it for a short time, and then I would have to lay down and take a nap because it looks so difficult to just but now he dances nice, but it isn't actually all that strange. And here's like a little clip. Okay, so there's the rocker move. I kind of missed this earlier one, but let's go back to it. That's basically standard dance style for the era there, and these are just different clips. Okay. Interesting, because I don't really remember this blue one. It used to be white, but I guess... All right, now it looks a little more like heavy metal, really. Frankly, heavy metal dancing. This is his later years. He's a little heavier. Now, this is a little more like I remember most of his outfits, although not all of them had this flared leg thing, but... So that's like a little bit, but he's just kind of wiggling his butt there. And that is about as close as it gets, but you can see that he didn't do the gyrations, like the very tight convulsions. It's the convulsions that I remember. And more classic dancing, some 60s style dancing, regular dancing. You can pretty much tell by his weight, like his age on these. More regular dancing. So if you look at these, you can find just a little bit like JoJo's, who I talk with sometimes with something on here. She was able to find one instance where he kind of violently strums the guitar, and when he violently strums the guitar, he causes his body to go with the strumming. But the minute he stops strumming, then that's it, no more. So it's gone. Like, his dancing that I remember, it's just gone. This might be the closest one here. Every now and then you can find some little bits. Then it's back to normal dancing. He actually just dances way more conventionally, and like, look at all of the old... He used to dress weirder from early on, and now he only dressed like that flashy weird style towards the end. All right, that's the same clip as we saw before. Let me see if there's any new clips on here. Here we go. Let's see, then back to the normal stuff. So it's just, I don't know. It's flipping me out. There's something missing here. Okay, we already did that one. Let's try this one. Normal. I mean, it's good dancing, but it is not like, there was nobody who danced like him. Like, nobody. Like, I don't even, you look at it, you go, how you even do that? It's just not there anymore. So I don't know. Do you guys remember that old seizure style? Like he was having, like he looked like somebody put electric wires on his quadriceps, you know, and that's why they said it was look perverted or something. It wasn't exactly like the move. It wasn't exactly like twerking, but it did look, yeah. Elvis got Hitlered and Charlie Chaplin. He does. He dresses much more mainstream for the majority of his life now. He was well, they say he was famous for shaking his lips, but his hips, but he shook like he was he was being electrocuted. He didn't shake like it was a sneer. So for me, it wasn't just a sneer. It was that he did this weird thing with his lip where one lip went up and the other lip went down. So it wasn't the normal smirk. He now has a normal smirk, but that's it. Okay, sorry. Somebody was talking about we're entering tribulation. I don't know. You know, I heard that in 2016 we were entering tribulation, and they said 7 years. I guess what? Tribulation's only 3 years. I don't know. I hope the Bible keeps shrinking it. Yeah, evil twists his lips when, well, just like sometimes he would do it, and he would pose with it. So, you know, if you look at his dancing now, he danced similar to people of his time. If you look at the backup dancers, he's not dancing significantly different from them. He did a couple rocker maneuvers, you know, with the sticking his leg up, but none of those things are special now. There would be no reason to, like, not show his whole body, for instance. I haven't seen anything that is very, Elvis danced like chubby checkers, a twist. Not for me. That's this. It's just, I mean, like they did it. If Elvis danced like chubby checkers, then why did they not want Elvis to be on screen, but they did live, but they didn't mind chubby checkers? See, that's the thing. He never danced like this. He used to shake his booty. That's more like it. He would just be like, it was crazy. It really looked like he, you know, nobody could do it. NASA just announced for some place in central Texas for another X marks the spot total eclipse across the southern U.S. crossing the line of 4/8/2020. Oh, okay. So we got another total. They're like a dime a dozen. We're gonna have like 10 of these a year if this keeps up. Let's see, another total eclipse. Especially with the rate that time moves anymore. And this week has really moved up until like today, frankly. Like yesterday, I was like, are you serious? It's Wednesday tomorrow already. Total solar eclipse of April 8, 2024 shows the visibility of, well, what a ripoff. I don't even get to see it. I'm like way up here. Texas gets it. Well, how rude. I thought I'm close enough, right? But no. So, totality in Austin looks like, and San Antonio over maybe by Dallas. Parts of Mexico. Cool. I wonder, let's see. Will it zoom out for me? Oh, yeah, it will. Who else gets it? Nobody? Looks like the answer is nobody. Wait a minute. Why does it just stop right there? That's a new one. I don't remember that. I don't remember ever seeing it like this. Usually it sweeps across the whole Earth, right? The total. It doesn't just go stopped. I don't remember it ever not continuing on to the neighboring area. Actually, now that I think about that, that is weird because it goes once around the Earth and then stops usually. It doesn't suddenly, it kind of like, I'm trying to think because if it would go around the whole Earth, why didn't it go around more than once? But it never did. The whole area would get it. Yeah, this is a new one for me, this nubby thing. I'm trying to it's hard for me to stop thinking like my old way of how things orbit according, and then there's the official way that things orbit now, which is more confusing than my old way. Look at all that water. Look at all that water over here. It's really making inroads into I'm just looking at, oh, look at all the water coming out. It's like the all right, well, that's a different subject. Anyways, yes. So, interesting. Good info. Thank you. Announced last night. So, like, suddenly, okay, this kind of makes sense. We just had a big shift, and suddenly now they're announcing something that's not happening until April of 2024. So, like, why is it today that suddenly there's all these announcements of something that is happening almost a year from now? Other than we just had a giant shift. He looks so slim. You know, you're right. I did kind of notice that he does look very trim. And the other thing I noticed is at his fattest, he doesn't look as fat as my original timeline. Like, he was way more fat. Well, I don't know way more, but he definitely had another 50 pounds or something on him before he died, I think, in my old timeline. So he started out thinner, and he didn't gain quite as much. You're right, though. I don't ever remember him looking really slim, and he does look really slim now. Like, very trim. I remember that he got heavy into karate in his last years. I don't remember that at all. That's interesting. I've never heard of that. Two total eclipses within months. Wait, did we just have one? I'm confused now. His nephew said that Elvis was deeply into hard rock heavy metal band Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin, and that's why he had occult symbols on his bell-bottom pants like stars and moons. What? I never heard of that. In fact, that would make sense why he's doing these weird rock moves, because I actually don't remember looking at him dancing and going, that looks like a rock move. It's on October. Wait, there's one this October? You mean like, wait. wait. Okay, wait. October, you mean of this year? 2023 eclipse. Really? Okay, that would kind of make sense why they just announced it. All right, solar eclipse 2023 USA. October, so okay, wait. So what, Texas has got two of them or what? Details 2023 and 2024 solar eclipses. Okay, now this is a bunch of horse hockey. This is, what? Oh my God, San Antonio. What's, oh my God, I have never seen this before. This is crazy. Oh my God, no, this is crazy. Through the eyes of NASA. So San Antonio is like at the epicenter of a big solar eclipse X. That's crazy town. What is going on? San Antonio. Look at that. All right, so I guess now that one was the 2024. So this must be the 2023. Yeah, 2023 annular. And this is the total. Okay, so there's different solar eclipses now. Annular, I believe, means that the moon will be in the center, but you will see a ring of fire around it. And originally when that started happening, it was just the flares of the sun, but now it is even, I believe, part of the ring, the outer ring, because now the moon is closer and farther and closer and farther. That didn't used to be a thing for me, but now I guess it's really close up. It doesn't totally block out the sun, so that makes it annular. And then total is when it totally blocks out the sun. This is crazy. I feel like, I don't know why, I just wonder if some weird business is going to happen in Texas over here, and it's over here by the border. Mexico's Mexico's getting a weird angle to it. Look at, like, Mexico used to kind of cut across fairly straight at the bottom of the states, and now it, like, Texas used to be more over here. Like, you know, this would be Texas over here, and then it was kind of straight across over there. All right, so there's another image over here. That's Crazy Town. San Antonio. An area of Texas near San Antonio where the two eclipse paths cross. Will experience both the annular eclipse and the total eclipse. I have not heard of that at all. I think I would, even when I heard about future eclipses, I have not heard of this double Texas whammy. This is Crazy Town. Okay, so yeah, it's October, so it's coming up. July, August, September, October. All right. And then the next one is April, I think it was, they said. All right, well, anyway, it doesn't really matter that much, but it's still Crazy Town. His dance was unique. They censored him on TV because of that. Exactly. And it's not now. I mean, like, I don't see why they'd censor him. He's just dancing like other people. Maybe a little better at it than average, certainly, you know, but there's nothing there to the shock shake. Yeah, that was kind of it. Yeah. So, like, why would they censor him now? There's no reason to. I haven't seen anything that anybody else wasn't doing at all. We know more about Mona Lisa. We know that the bridge behind her is where the bridge behind her is. Now, I do remember them saying we think it's, wait a minute, the bridge behind her. I do remember they're saying they think they knew where it was taken from some building, because now there's all this building parts. Now, before it was just her, and there were no, like, lands, there were no parts of buildings and stuff. So, and that it was not finished. I've not heard of the Mona Lisa. Lisa P. Wiki. All right, let's go to the official wiki. Not being finished. I have not heard of it not being finished. Now, I do remember there being a lot of stress about getting it finished. Or was it like 8 years? And there was like, when you going to finish my painting and all that. The bridge behind her now. Oh, now this background does keep changing. For a while there was a waterfall back here. That's gone. Wait a minute. Wasn't there like pieces of building back here? That's gone again. Oh my gosh. This piece right here looks different. The Mona Lisa digitally retouched to reduce the effects of aging. All right, the bridge behind her. Okay, there is some pieces of building. There's this bit here and this bit here. I remember there being more. Oh, chihuahuas. Something's different now. Okay. That smirk is so subtly altering. It definitely does look like a smile more than I remember it, though. All right, the veil showed up a while ago. That's still here. This thing over her shoulder is still here. Now, it looks like a piece there. Let's see. Let me just open this a little bit better. This piece here looks like it's gotten a little more prominent. I don't know what's going on over here. I have not seen. It looks like there's a little nebula there, and I have not seen that before. The chair showed up a while ago. Looks like there's something filly over here now, too. Now, there's a rock thing that's changed for me over here. This area, yeah, there has been some changes to this background. This road has been here a while, but I don't remember that. Things got a little more normal back here. For a while, it was looking totally cartoonish back here, and it still kind of does here. There was more building present last time. Originally, there was none. So that, yes, Mona. I should probably, if I don't know if I have time today, but if I do, I'll check my indicator photos. The background used to be much vaguer. They had touched it up. It's Mandela. Mona Lisa. All right. Just to see what comes up. So that's the touched up version. Now, I don't remember the digitally altered picture looking like that. I remember that being just what it looked like, not that it was digitally altered to look like that. It kind of looks like there's more damage now. The hell, people. Now there's all these like really, what the hell? There's all these super clear versions. Is that what it's like? We didn't used to have a version like a ton of images of, I guess that's what it's supposed to look like? Or what? Where is all of these coming from? Framed Da Vinci Mona Lisa. Repro quality hand painted. What? What is all this? All right, here we got this. The Mona Lisa may leave the Louvre for the first time in 44 years. Okay, so I think then that this might be what it looks like now, untouched up, which is worse. So that touched up version that they were showing is what I remember it normally looked like. So this has gotten all vaguey again back here. Oh, there's that bridge. Okay, so this is that bridge you were talking about. There is a bridge here. I do not okay. I do not remember there being a bridge here. So, yeah, there was no bridge. Okay, I'm quite sure there was no bridge, and that's why they, they were able to recognize like the mountains, and they thought they knew it was taken from the mountains, but there was no bridge. That's why when you said they recognized the bridge, I'm like, what are you talking about? So it's gotten all vague back here again, and there is in fact a bridge. All right. Kind of. Okay, so major changes here. That's still there. The hair here looks a little different too. And here. Her face has more, just kind of looking a little more weird. She always had the weird eyes. She's not as pretty, I don't think. Her face here, her like, her mouth is kind of weird. There's actually, she just, only the eyes are kind of the same, but she doesn't really, she's not as good, quite as good a looking as I recall. There's something about them lips that's bugging me. They're like, her mouth got smaller and her nose got like bigger or something. There's something going on in the bottom half of the mouth there. And those lips. See, like they're kind of parroting it. The mouth is small there. Something's off. Yeah, she, it looks like her mid-face got a little wider, like a little longer, and then below her nose it's gotten small. And then it looks kind of dirty. I feel like there's freckles on there or something. I've never had that impression. And I'm just looking at it and going, she got freckles now or what? Let's see if there's any on there. Are you going to load? Maybe, maybe not. Well, that's going to take 100 years. All right, I'm going to read what's going on over here. When AI gets it, shows 6 fingers. Okay, what about the official Nazi salute to the Pledge of Allegiance in the 19th century? century. Okay, so that was on Moneybags. Moneybags covered that. We had, that was interesting because we had like an earlier version of that on here maybe a year or two ago where I'm like, there's Nazi, and I don't think I found it. It was one of you guys found some Nazi salutes and stuff where we were saluting during World War II. There was Nazi salutes, like there were images of children doing it, and the story at that time was that there was a lot of Nazi sentiment, and then there was some classroom images of it, and it looks like it's shifted now. If you can go check it out on Moneybag's show because he's extensively covered, so I'm not going to go into it too much because it's, just watch it on his show. But that's, I think it's his latest one. Basically, now the story is that before we had the current salute, the official Roman style of saluting was this Nazi salute, and the Romans did it. And then we did it because the Romans did it, and it was just how we saluted the flag. It was like, as best I can tell, seemed like it was the standard way of saluting the American flag until World War II. And then either the Nazis got it from us or they got it from the Romans. One or the other. It wasn't really clear, but they started doing it. And then when they started doing it, we're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do what they're doing. So now the official story is we changed it to the hand over the heart at that time, which is freaky. So I think we saw here like a very preliminary version, and it is kind of expanded out now. And now you can see the current version, or, you know, most of the current version is now on his show. So check it out. But yes, that is definitely a big fat Mandela. You'd think that we'd, and you know, that was grandparents' time. It wasn't that long ago. So you would think grandparents will remember having Nazi saluted the flag. But everybody I know that asked their parents and stuff, which there's not a million of them, but nobody has any recollection of having doing that. None of the grandparents remember anything about that. So yeah, that one I looked at apparently is the untouched up version. Look at, it's going like a snail, so I don't think I'm ever going to get done with that one. I painted the bridge in both my versions, prelim minimal. Yeah, sorry, that wasn't my timeline. That was a different prelim minimal maybe. It's masculinizing. I do think she looks a little more masculine and not quite as pretty. Generally, when you have a large mid face, it's not quite as aesthetically pleasing as a little bit tighter mid face. Or the long Mona Lisa will be a ginger with freckles. Yeah, actually, that hair is looking pretty reddish, isn't it? She used to have black hair before. Okay. Now that you say it. Okay, so now I'm looking at this. It did actually load. Look at that. Okay, so this looks like it's all cracks here. It's all cracked. So the painting now has a lot of cracking. And the version that used to be the normal version is now the enhanced version. So I can see there's cracks all over here and here, like cross hatches. So the quality of the paint wasn't as good, or the quality of the preservation, or something along the lines. So there's a lot of damage here, and that was the freckles that I thought I was seeing. But it is interesting that it's just across here where there would be freckles. This hair is looking very red now that you mention it. I mean, I know I didn't think you actually mentioned it as a joke, but now that I'm really looking at it, see a lot of cracks up here. I don't remember that. It was well preserved. And there seems to be like there's damage here. I do not remember there being any damage here. I might regret pushing that because, man, it took a year to look at all that damage. I think it's going to take 100 years for that to load and I'll get lost. But, yeah, there's damage here. Something is different. Okay. Mona Lisa. Maybe I'll just do it over here instead. In case I gotta look again. Mona Lisa hair color. Now, I thought her hair was black before, as an Italian would normally have. I was just thinking today I need to buy some ginger. Mona, is it ginger or she? Have anybody ever heard of Guillemot bird, Scottish penguin? There's penguins everywhere. I don't think I remember there being a Scottish one, though. All right, let's see what color we got for Miss Mona. Let's even say, does Mona Lisa have eyebrows? Perhaps, but not anymore. There's a... True colors of the Mona Lisa. Doesn't really say. Which is interesting in itself. Stop. Stop! I do not want to get... Now her hair is looking very red. I don't want to have that music on there because I don't know about the copyright issue. All right. How about this? I go back to the wiki. Now, Lisa Giancondo. What color hair did Lisa del Giancondo have? Early life, marriage, death. Dark garments and black veil. Spanish influenced. I just got a last name Giancondo. She's Spanish or some such. I mean, she should have black hair, right? Different paintings. All right, let's look at those other paintings. All right, so let's see. Because, you know, now that you mention that, I really do wonder if we're going to see a hair color change. It's looking very red. Now, of course, there could be the story, oh, well, you know, the black has faded to red. But it is very red. Now, I'm trying to see if I can find... See, she's kind of got brown with reddish tinges there on this art doll. Is this supposed to be another image of her? Where was that other one that had more of the building in it also, which was supposed to be the other version of it? I know there was that second one, right? That was also supposed to be of her. She was younger. The earlier Mona Lisa. There we go. I think this is it. I think there was like 2.5 of them by the time. So it's like, oh, maybe it was painted by him, maybe it wasn't. It's interesting. I'm really not finding that one. Just want to see what color the hair is in that one now. All right, that I think is it. The hell is that thing? What? So there it is, I guess. I don't remember this, though. Now, I'm thinking that this is supposed to be trees reflected in some kind of water so that they are, you know, so you see the reflection also. But yet the water is like brown. I don't remember that being in the second Mona Lisa. And then over here, there's like this gray crap on her hair, but it's, I guess it's kind of the veil, but it looks terrible. My gosh, that's terrible looking. No bridge. The hair does not look black, it's like brown. Interesting. I don't remember that ugly thing though. It looks like someone spilled ink on there. That's interesting. I don't think that was in the last time I looked at it. That's weird business. The younger version. Okay, you found it. Yeah, that's the one I think I just looked at. Yep. Oh, wait. What? Okay, I think that's... That would be digitally enhanced, right? It's not the same one. A file photo of Mona Lisa and recently discovered and restored copy of the Mona Lisa painting as it was displayed at Madrid's. So this is who did this second one. A Mona Lisa copy owned by Spain's Prado Museum was almost certainly painted by one of Da Vinci's apprentices alongside the painter himself as he did the original. The stunning find of what Prado now says is probably the earliest known copy of La Gioconda will give art lovers an idea of what the Mona Lisa looked like in the 16th century. Okay. So, brown with red tinges hair. I don't see the bridge over. I don't see the bridge over here. This looks different. Interesting. That, I mean, that could be a bridge, but it really doesn't look. It could be anything. You do see more of the edges here. Again, this is more like how I remembered it from before. Chair is clear. Interesting. I've never seen that before. Okay, so you know, we look at this and we look at it and we look at it, and every time it's different. This one looks a little more like I remembered this one looking. Like the face is a little nicer. Frankly, it looks like a nicer painting than the actual legit one. Yeah, that's the third. I don't know. I've never even seen that one before. This one that they found one. I've never even heard of that one before that I just clicked on. Yeah, that one is a totally new one for me. Yeah, I don't know. Like that whole one I just looked at. I have never heard that story before. I've never. I don't even know what that one is. Okay, well, definitely changes in that business. Okay, so we covered before that the current story of the history of Native Americans was that they had slaves, like African slaves. Like they copied the Europeans by having African slaves. Now, originally, it started out for me like, okay, some of the African slaves escaped to live with the Native Americans, and they got, you know, and they had similar difficulties with the white folks, so they kind of got along. And so there were like Africans that had a Native American history because the bloodlines kind of mixed. Then it came out a few years ago that they just had slaves as slaves, like Native American populations had slaves. So the current story has gotten even more extreme, where they're now saying that like the Cherokee Nation kept slaves even before the Europeans came, that they would enslave people from neighboring tribes, and that was the thing they did. And now the native tribes had slaves to the extent that they even had famous slave escape attempts. So now there's this thing called the 1842 slave revolt that happened, and it was it doesn't seem like that many people for the current era, because it wasn't, it was what, 40ish something people. But so it's called the 1842 slave revolt. This showed up in Reddit. I'm like, what? Because we've looked into this before and I didn't find this. So like they had a lot of slaves now, and when they had to do the like Trail of Tears, apparently they brought their slaves with them. You know, they were African slaves. Of the 5 tribes, guys, it's like, man, it reminds me of the Five Eyes countries, which I never had a thing called Five Eyes countries, but a few years ago that showed up. Now we have the 5 tribes. The Cherokees were the largest holder of Africans as chattel slaves. By 1860, the Cherokees had 4,600 slaves. I don't remember. I think it was only up to a couple thousand last time we checked. Many Cherokees depended on them as a bridge to white society. Full-blooded Indian slave owners relied on the blacks as English interpreters and translators. Mainly, however, enslaved persons worked on farms as laborers or in homes as maids or servants. So, like, apparently, what, they were more like Europeans now? They had farms with slaves and houses and maids and stuff? The Cherokees feared the aspect of a slave revolt, and that just what happened in 1842 at Weber's Falls. It's like, when does the Cherokees become like so white? Like, I don't know. It just, I don't even know how to say it. It just like they used to have the native lifestyle, and it seems like they just, that's not as much now. On the morning of November 15th, more than 25 slaves, mostly from the Joseph Van plantation. The Joseph, I mean, that doesn't even sound like a Native American name. So how does it have this white boy name, but it's natives? They locked their masters and overseers in their homes and cabins while they slept. The slaves sold guns, horses, mules, ammunition, food, and supplies. At daybreak, the group headed towards Mexico. So the story now is that Mexico made slavery illegal earlier than the United States did. So people would try to go to Mexico if they were slaves. The Creek Nation, the Cherokee slaves, were joined by Creek slaves, bringing the total group to more than 35. On the way, they ran into some slave carriers that were taking slaves to the Choctaw Nation, and they freed those slaves, and they killed the 2 slave hunters. So, let's see. How many were told? I think they freed 8 slaves, then those slaves went with them. So what happened was then the Cherokee Nation and the Choctaw gathered 100 people to go chase them, and they caught them, and they executed 5 of the escaped slaves. Joseph Van put the majority of his rebellious slaves to work on his steamboats. Like, I don't know, Joseph Van is a Native American. He had steamboats, which worked the Arkansas and Mississippi and Ohio rivers. The Cherokees blamed the incident on free armed black Seminoles who lived in close proximity to the Cherokee slaves at Fort Gibson. The Cherokee Nation passed a law commanding all free African Americans, except for Cherokee slaves, to leave the nation. This is all just weird. I mean, like, this is just weird. So, like, it doesn't even sound like they were living like what we would traditionally consider the Native American lifestyle. I mean, they've got steamboats and farms with slaves running the farms and maids and all that. I'm like, what? On the other hand, the Napoleon crossing the Alps is so huge. I didn't I'm not sure on that one. Aztecs enslaved and ripped the hearts out of other Native Americans. Yeah, the Aztecs were famous for that bloody stuff, but the Native Americans of America weren't. There was never originally anything with them holding slaves before. Now, they may kidnap some people, but like young ones, but then they would raise them as theirs, and then they would just join the tribe. Now, maybe they were kind of bullied some and stuff, but they weren't like actual slaves. They were, and they would kill the other one. They like if they invaded something place, they would kill the adults, and they may take some of the kids versus killing them, but not as slaves. That was the thing. Okay, Shari, yeah, for the first time ever, I heard some YouTuber from South Africa speaking about Mandela, saying that the person that got out of prison was not the same, and that's why Mandela's wife divorced him. We covered that a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you missed that week, but we actually we discussed that exact conspiracy theory on here. People who see the painting are often disappointed because it's so small. I just heard about that like maybe a year ago. I wonder if it's kind of shrinking. All right. So, anyways, that slave thing has changed. I got that one. All right. This one is also weird. All right. I've got through it. It's only an hour, so I'm actually moving well. Okay. What's next? Mansions in the Everglades, Hawaiian vacation homes, and jetliners with for the Native Americans. I don't know. I'm like, and like Joseph Vaughn. It doesn't sound like a Native American name. I'm like, well, I don't get it. Like, they should be like Chief Running Bear or something, not Joseph Vaughn. Django Fett. Yeah. I don't know. The Mandalorian. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. I want to get to the timeline where the Napoleon crossing the Alps. Darn it. I'm trying to think now. Napoleon. I'm weak on the history before World War II. I'm especially weak. I don't remember anything about this. Napoleon rose to the ranks. He became the first consul in France. There was one Mandela that he's not short anymore. He was average height now. That was just a common misconception. Last I checked, Napoleon actually led the army through this mountain pass or came through later. What? The glorious leader with a blah blah. Let's see. Napoleon crossing the Alps is a very idealized painting. This is a famous painting? I never heard of it before. I have never heard of this painting before. Okay, I'm thinking we're talking about him crossing the Alps, but this painting, I have never heard of this damn painting before. I have never seen it. I have never heard of it. By Jacques-Louis David. I assume he's French. Never heard of that dude. Place in Heart History. Napoleon and Propaganda. Okay, so they're now saying they don't know if Napoleon actually crossed the Alps in this campaign. That's what I was saying I didn't know about, I didn't know if Napoleon crossed the Alps in any such campaign. But, so this is artwork. Okay. This is why it's confusing me. I don't know anything about any of this crap. I have never seen that before. What kind of outfit is that? Let me see if I can open this. Jacques. I'm just looking at his stirrups, actually. That looks very weird. I've actually kind of gotten more into horses, and I know that you're not supposed to have your feet like that in the stirrups. I know that much. Feet supposed to be flat in the stirrups. Then he's got I don't know what the common stuff from the time was, but this is strange. The horse is acting like his neck is all pinched, but then the the reins are all crazy loose. All right. Yeah, I've never seen this business before. Uh, 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 uh. He's not even sitting on anything. This is weird. Huh. Yeah, nope. I don't know anything about that thing. Beethoven originally dedicated his Fifth Symphony to Napoleon. Never heard of that before. History is a fable agreed upon, said Napoleon Bonaparte. He would know since he probably never existed. Yeah, I know. Is any of the past even real? The Napoleon painting is the most famous one. Never heard of it. Never seen it. Even drawers based on the never. I don't know what to tell ya. What color was Napoleon's white horse? Don't tell me it wasn't white, okay? Napoleon's pants has changed. Okay. Actually, if that's supposed to be Napoleon's white horse, it does have black on his what do you call those parts? It's not knees. It looks like the knees back here, and there's a word for that, and I forgot. There's black right there, and it looks like a bay or something, because I've never seen a pure white horse with like a black here and here. It couldn't really be a white horse. Yeah, wasn't he like famously always riding a white horse? And then the tail looks kind of blonde, which is a weird color for a bay. Or some kind of dappled gray guy, it looks like, though. Yeah, the coloration on that horse is weird. Now, maybe they're going to say it's an old painting and faded. I don't know, but he's got black on his, like, horse knees, whatever you call them things. So it's not a white, it's not a white horse. It was a baguette horse. I don't know what that means. Even the Napoleon painting wears one hand in his pants. What? His pants are so, and the horse was white. Not anymore. Okay, I remember a famous painting. This is the only famous painting I know about Napoleon. When he had his hand like over in his stomach, and it was just a little inside his jacket. And they're like, it was a little bit weird looking, but they said that was just like how they did it at the time. The horse was white. Now in my recollection, it was standard to just put famous people on white horses. So I would have expected that. Okay. Famous Napoleon. Painting. And it was him standing there with his... I thought he was with other people. Okay, there is this one. Man, he's looking pudgy in this one. Oops, missing. The heck? That one comes up for everything. This is crazy. I have never... What? Now, I remember, like, it looked more like this one. But then he didn't have that red... It was a little bit like this one. But then he had his hand in. So... Which, it was like this one. It's so tiny now. And then when I click on it, it's not there. What? Where did that other one go? It's like gone. Okay. It was sort of like this one, but it was That's first of all reverse. Second of all, there was no horse or anything, and he was in a building then. And he didn't have it under that much. So he had just, it was under one layer. Now, this one makes it look like it's way like diving into his actual. This is crazy. Oh my gosh, this is totally changed. Ah, I wonder how long ago. I can't even find. Oh my god, it's like gone. So like this whole outfit going on here with this pointy thing, it wasn't like that. Okay, so I'm seeing all these images like this. Okay, so they didn't have it where it only went halfway and then split. It went all the way down here, and he would have a vest thing. And then he poked it into the vest thing. But now he pokes it into the vest thing, but there's this overcoat thing that wasn't there. So I think it was more like a vest thing that had tails. Now there's a separate. This thing, I'm short-circuiting a little bit. I can't believe this. I've never seen this painting before. It also kind of looks like, now that I'm thinking about it, it looks like that horse one, he is actually doing the Roman salute. Look at this. He is doing almost the Roman salute. It's almost a Heil Hitler. I mean, now you could say he's pointing, but I mean, like... You know, I'm looking at the top of this horse's head. He's got black hair up here, blonde hair down here. Now he's looking more like tan on this one. Looks like a black spot. What the heck? Now this one doesn't have black on the knees. I don't know what's going on with this painting, but there is weird stuff going on. There's like one from each timeline or something. Oh my gosh. This is about one. He looks like a big dork in that one. What the heck? This is kind of like the one I remember. But first of all, he wasn't dirty looking. He was pacing directly into the camera. There was not this high split thing here. That didn't exist. This black overcoat split thing wasn't a thing. He didn't have as much abdomen. He had more hair. His cheeks weren't all red. The background scene is just different. There was no clock. Duh. Okay. So basically the painting I'm thinking of appears to be gone. I don't... This is as close as I can... There was not a giant effing flower thing. This is all wrong. Okay, so... Yeah, the painting I remember is gone, basically. I don't think it's here. This is the closest one. And that was the famous Napoleon painting. It wasn't this horse thing. All right, I'm not going to belabor it anymore, but it is kind of tripping me out a little bit. I sure had ugly... They've gotten uglier. This looks wrong too. Okay, let's see. That's interesting. See, because he goes under multiple layers now. This layer wasn't here. It used to just be one little vest. Somehow it's not as creepy as it's just poking in a little bit one, but now it's under... And he jams it in there. It was just poking in with a few fingers before. So this is also a little more like I remember, but the leg wasn't up. He wasn't young. He's like really young in this one. So the story that used to be was just that was a common pose at the time. I don't know what the story is now. I guess we could go on and on about it. See, he really stuffs it in there now. It's weird. But it is interesting because you don't really see anybody else doing it now. Hudson or something. You know, the more I think about history, the weirder it is. Google Napoleon painting with hand and jacket. Weird stuff pops up. So we did already have on like all the changes in the Henry VIII. There was used to have that big turkey leg, and then he had the gloves instead, and then now there's like a bunch of different ones, and they're all different. And then he got that cod piece, which didn't used to have a big cod piece thing going on. And what the heck is that? I can't say I've ever done this exact search, but okay, so here we have, is that Napoleon? So that was Napoleon? Who the heck is this? It's got so much R. With that. All right, so there's Francisco Pizarro painted with his hand in there. George Washington. George Washington had his hand in. Ah, that's interesting. I've never seen that. Okay, so that was still a thing. William Tecumseh poking his hand. I have never seen any of the Americans doing it, so that's interesting. Union soldier. Okay, bizarre. No, I never saw any of the Americans do that. I thought it was a European thing. Is Napoleon suffering from short man syndrome in this timeline? So, to my knowledge, last I checked, they said that the belief that he was short is a common misconception, and he was not short. Let's see. Was Napoleon short? See if that has changed at all. Napoleon wasn't really short. He measured 5'2" in French unit, the equivalent of 5 feet 6.5 inches in modern. And they're saying that people were short back then, so the idea behind the ferocity, say scientists, is that when smaller males act quickly and aggressively, they scare bigger, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so they're saying he was like average. The global mean height for men born in 1996 and measured at age 18 in 2014 was 5 feet 7. And he was 5 feet 6.5 inches. This confusion stems from French measurement system used at the time. Napoleon was of average height. It's just a myth. Okay, so yes, he wasn't short in this timeline or the last few timelines, but he was short in my original timeline. Now we have a volcano spitting pink clouds. Oh, no. Is that real? Game map for spewing. What? No. Is that real? No. I'm having trouble believing this one. Sorry. I'm having trouble. Okay, pink smoke. Wait, I'm having trouble on this one. I don't. That could be AI right there. All right, hold on. Okay, let's just back up because AI can make any video now, and that does have an AI flavor to it. All right. I don't think we're there yet. I think that was an AI contraption. Reddish smoke, orangey smoke, pink smoke. AI is getting good, but there's just still a little bit of an edge that makes it fishy. So yeah, I think this is AI here. You can see quite the difference. Leave the thought as AI. Now, I would not be surprised if something like this shows up for real. Because it does seem like, you know, with AI out there now, it's just opening the door. Excuse me. You can see it looks a little bit off for now. I really have questions on how much of this is going to become in the real timeline, though. The pink cloud volcano is from a game, I think. All right. So, where are we now? All right, so one thing is I really needed a thumbnail, and most of my stuff was all concepts. There was no thumbnail. So I just did like a search on lightning, and I found a bunch of this weird stuff. So one thing I found is that the images that we have of the sprites have retroactively gotten more and more awesome. Possum and larger and from less a distance. So we now have this image of the lightning that are sprites. It really does look like weird roots, doesn't it? It looks like a roots from a tree. So that's currently what we have. A lot of these images are not particularly new. Let's see, when is the date on this one? So remember, this was just a myth before. It's 5 years ago. This image is from 5 years ago. So lots of people can have good images now of the sprites. Certainly it's been less than 5 years when we were looking this stuff up. Let's see, when's this one? There's a lot of images. 2020. Look at that. And it's huge. So way back then, they didn't even know if sprites were real. But now, I mean, they have lots of images from the ISS, supposedly, if the ISS is real. Also, and of course it makes sense that the ISS should easily be able to catch these, being up there and all. Look at that. That looks totally fake. Speaking about AI, but, you know, I mean, that really does look fake. Red Sprite in Oklahoma by Paul Smith, 2018. By Paul Smith. Maybe that is a painting. But anyway, we have tons of images. Captured above Mauna Kea. This is an interesting one. So we've got that, plus this thing coming all the way down now. Okay, so my point, though, is that we're definitely getting more stuff. Oh my gosh, look at that one. Sprites in upper atmosphere. Come on, you could behave. It's weirdly not moving. All right, that one's working all right. This one is like bogging. I'm gonna just close it because I don't know what it's doing. Sprite, and what was some of the other one? So we started out with the sprites, but they're coming out with all these other terms. Here we go. And there's a bunch that I don't remember the last time I looked at this. So this gives an example. It's funny because they can't spell it right, but the red sprites now have this bottom part to it. I've seen these things called blue glimpses. Okay. Now the blue jets I do remember from last time, but I did not remember anything about the blue glimpses. And there's a whole bunch of this electron positron beam, and they're painting it all pink like this, but it's a gamma ray thing basically. But supposedly you can't see it, but then they keep painting it like you can. And some of the other stuff I'm finding is that they're calling there's one video. Let me see if I can find that one. And there's stuff that shows up. Actually, I should do it here. There's stuff that shows up that isn't explained anywhere. Like one of them was pixies. And I'm like, what? Let's see. Wait, history. Yeah, let's just do history. History. Oh, actually, my regular screen is working again. No, I know I had a save for later. You can see I just spend all my time looking at horses lately. What the heck, though? All right, watch later. Let's go there. Oh, weird. It's not there. I know I had save. Oh, here. This is it.
Researchers from the French Alternative Energy.
Oh. It was at 154. Here. Now, if I could just get rid of this right. It actually says right here, though. It says pixies. P-I-X-I-E-S. Pixies. Close that. Let it run. So what's weird is that it just comes up. There's this image. It comes up and it says like pixies over here and stuff. But none of that's ever explained. Like most of the stuff in here is never explained. So it just kind of flips me out. It's like, why did you have... Okay, I told you to stop. Stop. Okay, so that one says pixies. This one's got blue glimpses. There was another one that had something down here, and they called it trolls. And I look up lightning trolls, lightning pixies, lightning blue glimpses. I can't find any info on it. I'm like, I did find a little bit of info on this gamma rays thing, and they're saying, oh, like there's these weird gamma ray bursts at the top of thunderclouds, somehow created by thunder, like thunderclouds. But they don't explain much more. But so that one I can find, but I can't find much on this blue glimpses. These ones are all older here. Halo. Actually, I don't really find anything on just halos. So it looks like there's definitely been some upgrades or something. Let me just look at a bunch of stuff coming down the chute. If there's going to start mapping them, then we should eventually see them show up in reality. But so far, I haven't. I can't even get an explanation for half of them. All right, so look at this one now. They're calling it, this is a blue starter. Okay. So is that the same as those blue glimpses? All right, now there is pixies here, and they just show little dots. What's a pixie? These are the, okay, this one has the troll, which apparently is bottom parts to the sprites. They got blue jets. Now they have secondary gigantic jets that go under the halo. Here's the ghost. That was another one. Ghosts. Negative spirits. What? I mean, like, look at that. The elve again. The elve. Okay. So at one elf is usually an ELF. Elf. But they're calling it an ELVE. That's interesting. So that's a different spelling. And that, I thought that other one was a mistake, but this is the second time I've seen it. So I guess that's how we're pronouncing them. I remember elves and elf with an F. Okay, so we got what everything is named after. And then the lightning is way down here. And CG light. What the heck is CG lightning? CG light. Some kind of different. This is regular lightning. Now we've got CG. What the heck is C? So there's a bunch of stuff going on here. I'm like, what? CG light. None of this stuff was there the last time I looked. What's CG lightning? Is that fat lightning I've been observing? CG lightning. Types of lightning. Ah, cloud to ground lightning. Cloud to ground lightning. Okay. So I would then guess that the others are ground to cloud. All right, so we're getting it. Okay, here, yes. All right. So we did find occasionally they would say, oh, some lightning comes from cloud to ground instead of ground to cloud. I've gone through different timelines where they said lightning came ground up, then, oh, it came cloud down. That's been jumping back and forth. So now I guess we have both. Flowers and fruit growing from the trunk appeared a few years ago for me, but it was only one species. Yeah, it was Japoticaba was the first one for me. But that was, I did see Japoticaba in the 90s when I was researching rare fruit. But that was, as you said, the only one. And it was famously bizarre that way. Okay. Cauliflory. I think I had that on already, that there were more of these. Yes, this has been on. Grows straight from the trunk. Yes, we have had cauliflory on, and that there are a lot of them. Yes, this whole thing is. That is not Japoticaba, is it? Redbuds, yes, we've had the redbuds on. So yes, we have had those on. But yeah, I agree with you. It is a Mandela. First, it was just Japoticaba, but now it's all kind of things. And redbuds didn't used to grow. They had a lot of flowers, but they didn't used to come right out of the trunk. I have researched redbuds in the past, that tree, because they grow here pretty well. Oh. CGI, I know, CGI lightning. Yes, it's tempting. Okay, so let's see, where are we? Pixie, lightning, trolls, gamma bursts. Okay. Ooh, okay. It keeps getting weirder. All right. It's actually a pretty good week for weird stuff. All right. So now we have a little bit of the creepy. Okay. This one, I just found this one earlier. There was actually, I was looking on Today I Learned, which is a subreddit, and I didn't have to look that far. I just kept finding them. And the problem was I was not finding ones that had images I could use for the thumbnail, but I was finding a lot, and I didn't look super long because I spend a lot of time finding them and then researching them. So I didn't go far down the list. There's probably a lot more. This one, what is a humster? Okay, and it's not, well, it's not porn per se. It is science. Humster. Humster is related to a hamster. All right, oops. Okay, it's too pornographic for Swiss cows. It's not really, but let's go to Google. All right. The name is all wrong, but it is related to a hamster, but it isn't related to a hamster. What's a humster? Can't believe this crap. You can't make it up. A humster is a hybrid cell line made from a hamster oocyte fertilized with a human sperm. Okay, now in my old timeline, there was no freaking way that you could get those two to fertilize each other because the chromosomes didn't line up, and that was the thing. Oh, you have to have the same number of chromosomes or no way. But now they're saying, oh, the hamster oocyte, which is the egg, the female egg of the hamster, is not picky. A unique promiscuity of a hamster ova. So what, you'll just take any old sperm is the story? I've never heard of an egg being called promiscuous, but apparently the hamster egg uh, it allows fuse with non-hamster sperm. So you basically take a human sperm and put it on a hamster egg, and you get a humster. Okay, now before you totally freak out, supposedly these things do not divide very far, at least not for now, but I have never heard of this even existing. I have grave concerns that over time, perhaps these things will last longer. But for now, it does not evolve past single cells. I don't really get exactly what this means. It always consists of single cells and cannot form a multicellular being. So I'm thinking what they're saying is that the cells divide, but they don't start working in concert. They just stay as single cells. Now, they all have a hybrid cell line, so that means that these cells continue to divide, but they just don't form like a blastocyst or anything, I guess, is the story. So I would have thought that they would just say that they don't divide or they don't, but they are viable in that apparently they continue to divide because there's a whole hybrid cell line of these things. The hamster cell line. Hamsters are usually destroyed before they divide into two cells. But there's a whole cell line of them, so how could they be usually destroyed if there's a whole cell line? Is if isolated and left alone, if isolated and left alone to divide, they will still be unviable. Okay, so actually that actually does indicate that they would form something. I mean, it doesn't say that they won't. This whole thing, okay, the world's shortest wiki for starters. So I don't know if this is fresh off the Mandela presses here. I mean, you've got basically a hybrid hamster human, and there's like 6 or 7 sentences, and that's it. The sentences don't even make sense. There's a whole cell line, but they're usually destroyed before they can divide, so there wouldn't be a cell line. They're not telling you how far this thing will develop. They're only saying it's unviable. Okay, unviable just means that it won't reach to survival level. But, I mean, there's a big range in there of how far it could go. They're not specifying. Humsters are routinely created mainly for 2 reasons, and these ones flip me out. Okay, to avoid legal issues with working with pure human embryonic cell lines. So in order to avoid legal issues of pure human cell lines, we're going to crossbreed humans with hamsters, and that'll avoid the legal issues? That's like twice as creepy. To assess the viability of human sperm for in vitro fertilization. So we're not sure if you're fertile, so we're going to test it on a bunch of hamster cells. Have you ever heard of anything like this? This is just absolutely crazy town. Somatic cell hybrids between humans and hamsters or mice have been used. Somatic cell hybrid. What is a somatic cell? Somatic means body, right? Somatic cell hybrids between humans and hamsters or mice have been used for the mapping of various traits since at least the 1970s. What does this sentence even mean? So that's body cell hybrids. It's very vague bunch of sentences there. Hamster zona. Okay, I don't know, but anyway, that even the name is gross, Humster. And also the first, and before you say this is new, I believe that it was saying that it has been done since the 1970s. The 1970s. So, yeah, creepy timeline. Welcome to the strange. The trip has officially started. I don't know. Humster NATO. I don't even the name. Really? Who would think of even trying it? I know. Like, I'm sure that 99% of people will be like, ew, no. I love giant hummers, but not hamsters. Thank you. Rainbow Mountains in Utah. Okay, let's check those out real quick. I've got like 15 minutes and I got one more to go. Oh, it looks a little different. The Bentonite Hills. The Bentonite Hills. A rainbow Mars. I don't remember looking quite like that from the... I don't remember the top view. Bentonite Hills, Utah. Bentonite Hills. All right. So originally there was only a Rainbow Hills in China. And then it wasn't that long ago when one showed up in Utah. So this is interesting because I'm sure I would... It's very blue. Look at that. Very blue. Yeah, I thought it was more reddish. This looks neat. Wow, look at that. Visiting Bentonite Hills. Alright, so is it really that blue? Kind of blue. Thinking about being blue. See some ground views of it. Doesn't look as blue with the ground views. So maybe a little bit of camera. Okay, now it looks pretty blue in that one. Visiting the Bentonite Hills. The desert that looks like Mars. It doesn't really look like Mars because Mars didn't used to be blue. Interesting. Alright, yeah, it looks... I don't remember there being blue, basically. The Rainbow Hills, I don't remember there being that blue going on. So that's what gets me. Okay, so there's that. And then, because science isn't creepy enough. Actually, that one's the worst one. But this one, it's not a lot better. Another one that was foreshadowed or predicted or somehow infiltrated into our famous cartoon there. It's The Simpsons. So we've had cockroach milk, right? Oh, cockroach milk is good for you. Even the fact that cockroaches make milk. Well, apparently scientists have also done mice milk. They've made mice milk, like they've created mice that make a special milk for humans. Let's see. Let me see if I can find the right term for that. And what was the thing they wanted to make? It was lactoferrin. I think that was it. So basically, human baby milk has lactoferrin in it. And so they made mice to make the same milk that like human, so that basically so that humans could drink this mice milk. That was the point. Dang, I found it so easy. Mice lactoferrin milk. Maybe that'll do it. So they genetically engineered these, basically. Lactoferrin is a component of the whey protein of milk of most mammals, probably with the exception of dogs and rats. The concentration of lactoferrin depends on the phase that the baby's in, required for early B cell development. Here. Transgenic mice. Lactoferrin is an iron-binding glycoprotein abundantly present in human milk. All right, that actually is more on high-level expression of human lactoferrin in milk of trans. So basically, they made these mice to produce human milk. They express human lactoferrin in milk. They've actually made it so it produces way more lactoferrin than it is in regular human milk. They basically were trying to make something that made human milk. So I guess you don't need, like, I don't know. Well, mice don't make that much milk, but this is 1999. So if you got this mice milk, basically you could just feed humans on it. Because humans can't live on cow milk. It's not, like, it doesn't have enough of all the stuff you need. Ooh, this research here. Large-scale production of recombinant human lactoferrin from high-expression, marker-free, transgenic clone cows. That's a different one. Okay, it's not mice. Okay, so they're basically trying to make it so you don't have to have humans making the milk anymore, I think. But apparently they've been doing this for 20 plus years. Weird bird. Let's check it out. I've got like 9 minutes. Oh, it's a chicken? It's got these rounded feathers. Okay, that one I might have seen, but I don't remember it covering over the face as much like that. But they look like chickens. Like, yeah, so, yeah, they were actually talking about we could, selling cockroach milk, and now it's mice milk, and I don't know. Bible says crickets and grasshoppers are part of a proper diet. Yeah, it does now. I think it's questionable if it always did. The Sahara sand falling on Florida glows blue with the right camera. Maybe it'll start growing blue without the right camera if this keeps up. I don't remember even having problems with long distance travel of sand in my old original timeline. That just wasn't a thing. The sand from Africa stayed in Africa, and so with each continent. All right, that one, and then mice, pixie, hamsters. All right, this one is also creepy, but it's just kind of a legend thing. And I don't know why I wanted to put this one in, but I'm just going to do it anyway. So apparently there's this legend that's in all kind of ancient writings, of like this headless man, like headless creatures that had their face on their chests. They were like humans, and they were called Blemmyes, 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 and there's all these images of them in ancient writings. So it would kind of look like this. There was a couple of versions of them, but they basically have their face here. Sometimes their eyes would be higher. Then they didn't have like a head, but they had the... Now, it's not impossible that such a thing could live, certainly. I mean, we've seen enough with nature that certainly nature could. There's no reason you have to have a separate head. You could stuff it all down in here. So, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting because there's been so many weird hybrid stuff. The other thing is, so it's called Blemmyes. You can see all these old versions of it. So it would be easy to write it off, but apparently this was a legend that these existed back in the days. And the legend is around the world, which I thought was interesting. So, I don't know, aliens or something, I don't know. And then the third thing that I thought was weird is if you just look up Blemmyes as a wiki and you don't write in like headless, then it's just an ancient culture. So there was let's see, an Eastern Desert people who appeared in written sources from the 7th century BC until the 8th century AD. Occupied Lower Nubia, identified as one of the components of the X group culture that flourished in late antiquity. Their identification with the Beha people who have inhabited the same region since the Middle Ages is generally accepted. So there doesn't seem to be anything specially bizarre about this Blemmyes people, but the name is very specific. And then here this says, for the legendary being see headless men. So, but I mean, this is a very specific word with a very specific bunch of letters. And so it was both a people and headless men. People proposed the language of Blemmyes was an ancestor of modern Beha. Of course, I've never heard of Beha people. But they have a lot of ancient... I actually really should look up some of the Beha. Ancient Beha. Beha. Has I spelled that right? Forgot already how to do it. Why is it not scrolling up? Beha, that is correct. Beha ruins. Do they have any special ruins or anything? So I'm kind of just looking now. I don't know what I'm going to find. I haven't even looked at this before. Okay, so the Beha have some interesting old ruins, certainly. If this is them, I'll have to double check. Beha medieval city Roman ruins. Okay, so what we expect to see Roman style stuff. Interesting, interesting. Beha, town in northern Tunisia. Conquered by the Vandals. Still partly encircled by Byzantine walls. Okay, so it was a whole people, and I just think it's pretty interesting that it was either a people or headless men. Various species of mythical headless men were rumored in antiquity and later to inhabit remote parts of the world. They are variously known as Akapaloi, which is Greek, or Blemmyes, and described as lacking a head with their facial features on their chest. These were first described as inhabitants of ancient Libya or the Nile system. So that's interesting because Nubia was around there too. And again, like I said, there is a Blemmyes people. And then they're saying the headless people from that region. Later traditions confined their habitat to a particular island in the Brizoni River or shifted it to India. Blemmyes are said to occur in two types, with eyes on the chest or with eyes on the shoulders. And in antiquity, the actual tribe known as Blemmyes was said to be named eponymously after King Blemmyes. But no lore about headless is attached to the people in this work. Okay, so Herodotus had it in his, the Greek version had those, and the wild men and women, besides many of the creatures not fabulous, dwelled in the eastern land of ancient Libya. Non-Western sources also appeared in several Asian legends. Breast-eyed races are recurrent in Zoroastrian cult scriptures, such as Bundaism, Jamasp, Namag, and I'm not even pronouncing all those. Never heard of them. Indian epic, they have a demon with that. Middle Ages, there's some writings from Middle Ages. Medieval maps have locations for them. Late Middle Ages has them. So they're everywhere. Here's a, let's see. There's a depiction in art. So yeah, I don't know what's going to come, but everything is so weird. I just thought I would mention that in case we've definitely seen a bunch of animals where the face is kind of, like the neck got short and the face is kind of merging back into the body. So that's another reason why I just thought I would go ahead and stick it on there. There's a lamp that works with salt water since 2021. Ooh, water light. Okay. Let's just stick that on there. I'm kind of curious about this now. There is a light that works with salt water. I mean, does it have electricity or what's the deal here? Oh. Water light, portable lantern can be charged with salt water or urine. I think we'll go with salt water, thanks. Cordless light converts salt water into electricity. What? Called water light needs to be filled with 50 milliliters of seawater to emit 45 days of light. Are you kidding me? Can be used to charge a mobile phone. What? This is awesome. Like, why didn't we invent this before? I think maybe it's because we didn't have the right physics in the world yet. Once filled with water, the energy delivery is immediate. Well, that's super awesome. Works 24 hours a day through ionization. This is cool. I like this. I'm going to see how hard it is to make these things. After the salt particles have evaporated, the lamp can be emptied and refilled with the used water can be repurposed for washing or cleaning. A circuit integrated into its base and a perforated cap on top that allows water to flow into the device while the hydrogen gas created during the ionization process can escape. What? Oh my gosh. Throughout its life, one light can provide 5,600 hours of energy, which equates to 2 or 3 years of use, depending on how often it is needed. All right, well, there's some technology that's very interesting. And you can charge your cell phone with it? Come on. I'm going to have to look into this. This is crazy. I'm going to have to check into that more. That is very interesting. Well, I got to run, but thanks for that one. I'll buy one from you. Start selling me your story. Talking about me? Because I was already thinking that. I saw a necklace dog. Yes, we have had those weird defective necklace dogs on. And yeah, those things are just showing up, so. How would they, okay, anyway, all right, I gotta go because I'm out of time. But you guys have come up with a lot of good stuff, so appreciate it as usual. You know the drill. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.